My nose. Hello, hello. Welcome back. We are on to some software development prep. So it's an office hours for software development. I'm going to use this hour to go over some stuff that I talked with my mentor about. So, at the company I work for, we have like a really large network where we can contact lots of people. They have a software development team in my company, and I just contacted one of the managers, got in contact with him through a Engineers program, and just keep in regular contact with him. I ask him questions and stuff. Since I am trying to get into software development for my career, he's a really helpful resource for me. I suggest you do the same thing. Try to find someone that you can ask questions to, get advice from, and help you progress your career. Okay, so first things first. Hey, excuse me. Sorry, I just ate. Ooh. Let me turn this music up. Yeah, that's just a vibe. So I'm gonna write down the notes that we talked about. I'm interested in software development. Oh my god, why? I'm suffering. I have something in my throat. Okay. Alright, back to this. So, I'm going to start just kind of writing like a loose list of things and topics that I've gone over. First, I'm going to go over kind of my potential plan, and then I'm going to write topics. So my plan consists of gaining some certificates and then considering a master's degree. So I'm going to write down my certificates that I'm considering. So certificates. So the certificates I'm considering, they're from different universities. So WGU. This is a full stack certification. Let's just write it like that. Let's go figure out what WGU is. WGU certification programs. So, Western Governors University. Haven't heard of that before. Either way, let's go ahead and link. Let's just put a link up to that certification that I was considering. Courses and certifications. We'll stack this one. So this one consists of a bunch of different things. This is what I'm considering so that I can. You don't need a certification or like a class or school to do software development. It's just if my company's gonna pay for it, I might as well use it. So then National U University. They offer an AI certification. So let's go find that real quick. National University City AI certification programs. I don't want to request information. I just want to go to their certification, area of study, engineering technologies, the program. This one. Hey, don't do that. These universities or these like institutions, they almost always do this, where they want to like contact you directly, which is so annoying. It's not what I want. Still not what I want. Can you just I don't want to request information. I just want to look at what you guys have available. Here we go. Okay, so degrees and programs, certifications. certifications. Let's go here. Take this off and do this. So here's their AI professional certification and then certificate in AI machine learning. I don't remember. Start sooner and finish faster with innovative course design. 4-week courses. So it's this many courses, 5 courses, 4 weeks each. Okay, so I think this is it. I mean, honestly, the AI thing is like really low on my priority list. Even though like it's such a buzzword right now. Next is Alamo. They do the AWS. Oh, what the hell? Alamo. They do AWS, Linux. They do like the CompTIA. Okay, although I don't know, I don't think I have the specific. Let's keep these together. Get this, delete this, delete this. Alamo. Let's see. Alamo College District. I think this is it. Yes, this is it. Alamo College Districts, AWS Academy. So this one is high on my list. This college in general has some stuff in it that I think I need to take. So academics, continuing education. So they have the science and technology. This is all of their stuff. They have a lot of things here. Network specialist, AWS, Linux installation and configuration. The AWS Academy is what I'm most interested in, and then the Linux installation. So Alamo College Districts. I'm just gonna copy this so I can get back here. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's copy this. Just like that. Now, after this, I'm considering a master's degree. Colorado Technical. University of Maryland. National University. Oregon State. And Penn State. Okay, so these are the universities I'm considering applying for a master's in. I haven't decided yet. This is like way further down. Realistically speaking, this is like a high priority, and this is a high priority to like start working on. Now for topics that I need to be studying. Let's start here. So let's just like write a few topics that he kind of told me about. So Git I already know. Like I use this every day, but this needs to go into my resume. Make more emphasis on resume. Next is JS or JavaScript. I gotta learn this. REST APIs. So this is a learn this thing. I've heard of a REST API. I've heard the word REST API. Let's put it at that. I don't know what a REST API is. Application interface. I know like what an API, like I know again the word API, but I don't know how to use it. I don't know what it means in context of actual like development. So we gotta work on that. Next is unit testing. Unit testing. This is something that is like a fundamental that I have to learn. So learn this. Put into practice. Put into practice. So we're gonna get on ChatGPT and have them help us. Something he wants me to put is managing offshore teams. So this is like resume interacting with VPs. Okay, agile development study paradigm. Okay, he said this. Let's see. He said CI/CD automation Terraform. I'm hoping that this is correct. I don't know if I wrote this down correctly. Learn this. Okay, so now we're going to take these topics and we're going to expand on them with ChatGPT to give us a little bit of help. The thing I feel like I know the least about is RESTful APIs. Unit testing, I need to find like a good, solid course on unit testing. Agile development is something that I learned in my computer science degree, but like genuinely I do not remember or know the words for it. This is like, I have no idea what this is. He said that it's like the deployment life cycle and the deployment life cycle and methodology / tech. Okay. All right, let's get into ChatGPT. So this is something I was working on earlier, so let's start a new chat. Okay, so let's start with REST APIs. What are REST APIs? REST APIs. Representative State Transfer Application Programming Interfaces. Get, post, API, stateless communication. Get, post, put, patch, delete, stateless. What is a REST API? Okay. I ain't reading all this. Let's make it simpler. Shorten the response. Make it simpler. Let's see. And I'll go back. REST APIs let different softwares communicate over the internet. They use standard HTTP methods. Get, post, put, delete. Key features, stateless. Every request is independent. Resource-based. Data is accessed to URLs. Uses JSON, commonly to send blah blah blah. It's simple, scalable, and works with web apps. Is a REST API different from other types of APIs? Yes, REST APIs are one type of API, and they differ from other types like SOAP, GraphQL, gRPC. Here are some comparisons. REST works over HTTP using standard methods, resource-based, stateless and simple. SOAP uses XML and requests for responses. It enforces strict rules and security. Heavier and more complex. GraphQL, flexible, allows clients to request specific data. Single endpoints for all queries. Each type has pros and cons, and the choice depends on the project's needs. REST is popular for simplicity and wide adoption. Okay, give me the main points to know for an interview on REST APIs. Here are the key points to prepare for a REST API interview. What is REST? Why can't I read this word? Representational state transfer is an architectural style for web services. Works over HTTP using standard methods get, post, put, delete. The key principles of REST are stateless. Each request is independent. Resource-based. Resources are identifiable by URLs. Representational are sent for JSON files commonly, or XML. Uniform interface, consistent rules for resource interaction. Okay. Okay. How does REST API how do I explain this question? So basically, how does the REST API or REST API relate to software development as a whole? REST APIs play a vital role in software development by enabling communication between different systems and services. Here's how they relate to a broader software development process. Enables integration. REST APIs allow different software applications, web, mobile, IoT, to interact and exchange data seamlessly. They're the backbone of modern microservices architecture. Front-end and back-end communication. Front-end apps, web or mobile apps, use RESTful APIs to interact with back-end services, fetching or sending data. That's huge. That is the thing kind of that like I've had a problem with when looking at software development. I know the front end exists and the back end exists. I know that the front end is a lot of the the UI and the user interface, the UI, the user interface. It's, JavaScript, it's HTTP, it's CSS, it's it's React. And then the API is the thing that connects the front end to the back end, where you have the database and the back end logic that drives how things behave in the front end. Okay, that's cool. Okay, this is big. Scalability. REST APIs are stateless, making them suitable for distributing systems where scale and load balancing are critical. Standardization. They follow HTTP and JSON conventions, which are widely understood, making development faster and easier. Reusability. APIs can be used across different projects or platforms, saving time and effort. Cloud and SaaS. Many cloud-based and SaaS platforms expose REST APIs to let developers integrate their services into custom applications. In short, REST APIs are fundamental. Okay. How would a REST API work in reality with a simple program example? Okay, let's see what it got. Here's a REST API works in reality. With a simple example of a program that interacts with REST APIs for managing a to-do list. Set up a REST API. The REST API exposes endpoints for operations like get to-dos, post to-dos, put to-dos with an ID, delete to-dos with an ID. Client program example. Here's a Python example of using the requests library to interact with the REST API. Import requests. The base URL of the API. So API URL, API to-dos, get all tasks. So response is equal to requests.get. So we look at the import requests library, get API URL. If response status code is equal to 200, tasks is equal to response.json. Response.json. Okay, so response is equal to the GET request to this URL. The task is equal to the response.json print tasks. Okay, so it's read from. So it stores the link in this response, and then if the response status code equals 200, I'm guessing 200 is like it's good to go. Let's go up here and look. I think they gave it to us. 200. Okay, success. Cool. So success task is equal to response.json, and they print the tasks. So to add a new task is equal to. This looks like just a title, learn REST APIs, complete. This just looks like JSON. Yeah. Response is equal to request post request. So response is equal to you post. So this is get. You get the URL, and then you post to that URL a new task, a new JSON task. So this is the location, and then this is the object to post. So if the response is 201, which is the created, you print task added response JSON, and then you take the response and you print it out in JSON. Update a task. Task ID is equal to 1. You update task. You have the. So this is JSON with false. I don't know what that means exactly. Excuse me. So I'm gonna look up what this means. Response is equal to you put. So I'm guessing you are putting to the URL, and then you give it the ID number. So you take the URL and you put another slash and put the ID number. Then you update. So you take that ID number and you update the task. If it is 200, meaning okay, I guess since it just says okay, we've overwritten. Delete task. You give them the URL, give them the ID. Response code is 204. I'm guessing that's delete. Delete, okay, deleted. User runs the program to view tasks. API responds with JSON lists of tasks. User add updates and deletes tasks using options in the program. This will be like the function for updating a task. You feed the function the number. APIs execute requested operations, return successful failure responses. Okay. That's a lot. Okay. But I kind of get it. Okay, so with that, I'm going to move on to unit testing. I don't really need this, or I can learn some this is get, post, put, delete. Get, post, put, delete. Get, post, put, and delete. Access information from API. Add information to API. Put, update information. API. delete information. Sorry, I need to close this. So basically, how I'm understanding this, well, the API URL. What does the API URL lead to? Where does this code exist in relation to the software? I guess like that's all I can add. I don't really know. The API URL points to the server that hosts the REST API. This is where the API code and logic exists. Here's the breakdown of everything in relation to the software. API URL connects to the server hosting the API. The server has a backend application written in Python, Node.js, Java, etc. that handles HTTP requests, processes data, fetching tasks from the database, sends responses, JSONs with requested data. Where the code exists, the typical setting, backend server, location, on the server or cloud, AWS, Azure, purpose, hosts the REST API, implements the logic for get, post, put, delete, and other methods, connects to a database to store and retrieve the data, task in to-do list. From using Python Flask, from Flask, import Flask request and JSONify, app, in-memory database task, define get tasks, return JSONify tasks, app route, API to-dos, method get. Oh, okay. Define the function get task and return JSONify the tasks list. That. This is the post, so this is the add. So add task, task request JSON, task is equal to request.json, task append tasks, append that task. So this comes from the request.json. Where is the request defined? Oh, I see. So this comes from the request in JSON format, is assigned to task, and then in my tasks you append that task object and then return JSONify the task that you had here and the code 201. You probably should append the code or return the code 200 there. This is example backend code. And this is the API code. So this API code exists in the same place. So this code is defining how the requests are handled. I still don't understand. The backend server could be hosted on a cloud platform like AWS, cloud, blah, blah, blah. The front end, like the Python script or app, runs locally on the user's machine or browser. The API bridges interaction. User runs the client program. Client frontend sends HTTP requests to the API URL. Okay, so that API, this code exists on the client and defines where to send the requests to. So requests get to the URL, and then when it gets to the backend, this is the API route. Okay, so So the API code exists on the client, and when it's get put shoot. What were they again? Get post and put, get post put or delete functions are called. A specific request is sent to the API URL, which leads to the backend server. How does the backend server process the request? I think that's how it goes. You're correct. The API code on the client sends requests to the API URL, which points to the backend server. Here's how the backend server processes a request. Backend receives the request. The server listens for incoming HTTP requests on specific endpoints. API to do. When a request is received, the server identifies HTTP input, headers, body, routing to the correct handler. The server uses routes to map endpoints and HTTP methods to specify an example. Define the routes. App route to do's method is the get method. If you route to the API to do's and use the post method, it does this. Okay, so this is how you define the route. So these are the routers. So this goes on the back end. That goes on the back end. And this goes on the front end. You define... Wait. Is this right? Yes. Response equals post. There's our method. This is gonna go to the URL, API URL, and it's gonna be a method of post. Got it? Got it. Authentication authorization. Validates API keys, tokens, and other credentials. Ensures the user has permission to access the resource. Business logic executes the operation corresponding to the request. Get post, put, delete. Interacts with the database if needed. Queries the database for reading, writing, updating. Select from tools to do, insert. So this is where then the SQL querying comes into place, and like MongoDB. Okay, so yeah. Preparing the response. After processing, the server creates a response, sends response back to the client. The response code and the body, data, the JSON, and the format. Tools the backend uses. Web framework, simplifying the HTTP requests. Flask, Express, Spring Boot. Databases, store and retrieve data. MySQL, MongoDB. Middleware handles the things like authentication, logging, and error handling. Summary, clients send requests to the API URL. Server identifies the routes in the method. Process the request, authentication, business logic, database operations, and then you send the response. That's very simple. Let's go ahead and, I want to copy this. This is how it works. Like at its most simple. Okay. Let's see if we can get it to help me make something. Okay. Is there a way to make a simple version of this for free? Yes, you can create a simple REST API for free using tools and services that are beginner friendly. Here's how. Choose a free hosting platform. Several free platforms that you host backend services. Replit, write, deploy code directly in the browser. Glitch, simple for beginners, allowing quick API prototyping. Render, free tier, suitable for projects. I know Replit. Use a simple backend framework. Pick an easy to use framework to create your API. For example, Python Flask. Install Flask, pip install Flask. Write this simple API. JavaScript, Express, install Node.js, then initialize a project, write a simple API. So this is the client side. This is the back end side. Deploy your API for free. On Replit, create a Python or Node.js project, paste code, run it, and Replit will give you a public URL for your API. Is that true? Use Postman, a free API testing tool, or a browser for GET requests. Alternatively, you can use Python requests library or JavaScript fetch for client-side testing. Scale is needed. Keep it simple with an in-memory data store like the tasks array in the example. Okay, we will try this, but there is no guarantees here. Yeah, whatever. Replit. Write and deploy code directly from the browser. Replit. Backend. Setting up a full stack application on Replit. 2 example Replit links below that I created are currently broken thanks to forced automated updates to Nix and not worth trying to fix at this point. Nothing against Nix though. But frankly, Replit has become too slow, unstable, and poorly documented for me to justify using it anymore. Thanks to a few programming tutorials I went through a while back, I was introduced to Replit online development platform. More recently, I thought it would be an interesting exercise to see if I could use Replit platform to host a development environment that I had been using for Python-based approach to React development that I adopted. I'd outlined this approach in the React to Python book and picked a few examples from the book to use as my test cases. Okay, sorry, just reading. An important key to get the multi-server REPL to work is understanding that the server started using the listening code address of 000 becomes the public-facing web server, and starting another server listening on blah 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 keeps the server private. When 000's use, Replit access public requests to that server via its own publicly accessible IP address. In addition to that, it also automatically enables SSL. Regardless of what port your server is listening on, the public-facing server will be accessed via the standard SSL port. What this means is that while you can use multiple ports for your internal servers, the public-facing server only accepts requests. Now that we have the back-end, front-end ports figured out, the next issue is how do you run both servers simultaneously? What does that mean? What do you mean? Okay, that seems a little too complicated. I might... Okay, so... let's take another approach. Or let's keep reading. Let's close this stuff. Okay. Is the above information, I guess, it is important. Obviously it's important. I'm gonna just ask this question though. Is the above information a small part of full stack development? If you had to put a percentage of completion on this level of knowledge. How much would you say understanding this gets you to full stack development? We'll ask that. Yes, the information provided above is indeed a small but important part of full stack development, particularly focusing on the backend aspect of REST APIs. The basic front-end interaction with the APIs and the basic front-end interaction with APIs. Here's how it fits in the larger picture, which you've learned: backend basics, building a simple REST API, setting up a backend server-side logic, handling the requests, interacting with data, client-server communication, sending requests from client, receiving and processing responses from the server. Full stack development overview: front-side client, languages, responsiveness, making apps responsive across devices, state management, managing states of the front end, interactivity, creating dynamic interfaces with JavaScript, backend, languages, frameworks, Python, Java, JavaScript, Ruby, etc. Databases, SQL, NoSQL, authentication, authorization, user management, JWT, authorization, API designs, RESTful API, GraphQL, WebSockets, deployment, hosting on platforms like Heroku, AWS. For the backend, full stack concepts, client-server architecture, database integration, storing and retrieving databases via the backend, version control using Git and collaboration, DevOps, deploying full stack applications, CI/CD pipelines. Hey, that showed up. He was talking about this. Where does the knowledge you have fit in? The REST API's knowledge you've gained so far is actual crucial backend skill in full stack development. However, full stack development also requires you to understand how the front end and the backend work together and how to manage entire application lifecycles. Percentage of full stack development completion. Based on your current understanding, building a RESTful API, understanding clever tech, you cover about 20 to 30% of the full stack development process. Backend knowledge, API building, request handling, server is a key part. Front end side. Next steps for the backend. Here's the roadmap. Front end. Learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, front end frameworks, React and Vue. Backend advanced concepts. Learn the databases, authentications, and deploying APIs. Full stack integration, work connecting front end, back end. Version control. Be comfortable with Git, GitHub, and collaborations. Deployment. Learn how to deploy both front end these additional areas on your way to becoming a full stack developer. Okay. So much. Okay, so that is very important for me because for the longest time, like, I couldn't get a good understanding of how the pieces of this stuff work together very well. That is important. Kind of learn something. Alright, so I think we need to, like, do, like, an example. The only problem is that, like, I don't think ChatGPT is going to be able to run me through an example. This is, like, one of those things that I do not want to really do is go to YouTube. Simple full stack project for beginners. I mean, I don't want to do a million little YouTube tutorials. I feel like this stuff is just, like, not gonna be very good. Full stack development with Java, Spring Boot, React, MongoDB. React website tutorial, beginner JS project fully responsive. Build these apps, full stack messenger clone. Okay. REST API. What? A REST API, representational state transfer API, is an architectural style. So, again, the REST API is just a style. It is not like a technology that you download. It is just a style. REST is an acronym for representational state transfer and is architectural style for distributed hypermedia systems. REST is not a protocol or a standard, it is an architectural style. During the development phase, API developers can implement REST in a variety of ways. The 6 guiding principles of REST: uniform interface, client server, stateless, cacheable, in a layered system, code on demand. Uniform interface. What is this? RESTAPI.net. RESTfulapi.net. This is like the homepage for REST. Why didn't I just come here and read this? By applying the principles of generality to the components interface, we can simplify the overall system architecture, improve the visibility of the interactions. Identification of resource. The interface must uniquely identify each resource. This seems really complicated. This is JSON, right? REST does not equal HTTP. Though REST also intends to make the web internet more streamlined and standard, Roy Felding advocates using REST principles more strictly, and that's where people try to start comparing REST to the REST with the web. In simple words, in a REST architectural style, data and functionality are considered resources and are accessed using uniform resource identifiers. Uniforce. Till the time you are honoring the 6 guiding principles of REST, you can call your interface RESTful through me. I interpret it to mean unless you honor the 6 guiding principles of REST, you cannot call your interface RESTful. Roland's text is equally clear. Why not change the web page to text to make it clear? Unfortunately, there's no defined word for APIs that particularly follow these principles. Or a RESTed API. Oh. Regarding the 6th guiding principle, coding on demand, does it include single-page applications in which code is downloaded from a server to UI when invoked? REST principles are not affected by SPA design. I will suggest using lowercase separated with hyphens. Instead of hyphens, I suggest underscores. Please think twice. Even Google suggests hyphens in the URLs. Okay, this didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Oh man, my brain is fried as well. I am pretty tired. It's been a long day. A web API or web service conforming to the REST architecture is called REST APIs or RESTful APIs. Right. REST API introduction. Okay. Geek for Geeks always got my back. Is an architectural style that defines a set of constraints to be used for creating web services. REST API is a way of accessing web services in a simple, flexible way without having any processing. REST technology is generally preferred to more robust, simple object access protocol technologies because REST uses less bandwidth. Simple and flexible make it more suitable for internet usage. It's used to fetch or give some information from a web service. All communication done via REST API uses only HTTP request. Client, send request to the server, send response, HTML, XML, SOAP, image. In HTTP, there are 5 methods that are commonly used in REST-based architecture: post, get, put, patch, and delete. Post, get, push, patch, delete. These correspond to create, read, update, delete, or CRUD. Yes. What is patch? There are other methods which are less frequently used, like options and head. Get, post, put. I know these. Patch is used to modify. Post is a verb used, often utilized to create new. Put is an updating the capabilities. However, put can also be used to create a resource in case where resource ID is chosen, but the client instead. So put needs an ID. Idempotent. Patch needs to modify. The patch request only needs to contain the changes to the resource, not the complete resource. An impotent HTTP request, a method is an HTTP method that can be called many times without different outcomes. Okay, cool. That's polymorphism. That's fine. Get.API students, post, request posts. post.students with the JSON Raj put or patch. Put patch student API with an ID. Delete. Okay, cool. Alright. Hi, Chin. I'm almost out of time. I have 10 minutes. I was studying because I had a conversation with a software development supervisor from California. He's one of my mentors for my company, and he gave me a lot of homework. I got a entire list of things that I gotta go over. I talked about new certificates, potentially doing a master's degree. Earlier today, I had my game development stream, and that went well. Made more progress on that, but this right here, this is like my career stuff, so I gotta put in some time. I've been focusing on full stack web development, or well, full stack application development. I don't really care about the web. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I'm going to do the master's degree. Honestly, this is all in the effort to get a job in software, because I just want to make the software dev money. So it's I'm going to try certificates, and if certificates don't work, then maybe I got to get a master's degree. Maybe a bachelor's just isn't enough, which is crap, because I have people that I graduated with, and they all have jobs, and it's why am I just so unlucky? I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, I know right now it's really difficult. The market itself is just really difficult. I don't know if I talked about this, but during COVID, the tech bubble kind of ballooned for a lot of different reasons. A lot of money was being funneled into it at that time. People were working from home, so you needed a lot of tech support, and tech jobs are remote, so lots of people looked for those jobs because they were remote. People could go back to school, so we've been sold tech is a huge industry. We're always going to need software developers. So people went back to school for it. So lots of competition there, and yeah, companies were just hiring people off the street for knowing what an if statement was. So the industry as a whole just ballooned like crazy. Lots of people. And then in the last 2 years, you just see massive layoffs. I don't know if you've seen or heard. Just tons of people are getting laid off from these tech companies because the balloon burst. And the market is starting to cool down. So all of those people that had jobs, they're re-entering the market, and they're looking for new work. And what happens is those people have lots of experience, and they're applying for those entry-level positions that a new graduate like me would also be applying for. So now you have all of these companies that are flush with new applicants. They're all skilled, they're all qualified, and so they have their professional experience. So whenever they look at somebody who's just graduated compared to somebody who's already been in the industry for 2 years, it's easy just to make the choice hey, this person has the credentials, they have the experience already, let's just hire this guy. And so people like me just get looked over unless I know somebody specific in the industry. Literally all I can do, unless I get lucky and get a job to get professional experience, is just study my ass off, get some certificates, consider a master's degree, and I'm considering doing what is that called? Freelance work? Freelance software developer. I'm literally the meme where the guy's he's homeless and he's holding a sign and will code for food. That is me. And that's just the situation with my degree. Go figure. I chose a technical degree, one that's based in engineering and math, and still got screwed. What the hell? I didn't choose my, my art degree that actually probably some artists probably have an easier time finding a job, I guess. like my friend Audrey, she works as a, or my roommate Audrey, she works as a graphic designer. She got her job. She's good. She's having a great time. I can't even find an entry level job. If I could take a pay cut, I would. They don't want to hire me. I've gone through lots of interviews, so this is like all I can do is sit here and practice. This stream, the office hours in software development. It's a little bit different from the office hours in game development. So like this is going to be used for, it's either doing the studying, doing the review, or literally coming in here and doing interview questions. This is LeetCode. I can do interview questions here where like it gives me some coding interview question and I code it. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is what it is with the whole industry. Like, what can you do? In addition to that, I've not only like considered doing the freelance work for coding, but like my game development, my games, like I genuinely need to start charging for my games. Let me show you some bullshit that me and Robert bought the other day and played for like $2. Okay, the bone rooms. We bought this game for $2, and it's just garbage. It's garbage. It was like we were playing it, and it was like, this is $2. Like, why is this $2 compared to my game? I'm like, dude, I could charge at least $1, and if I charged $1, I would have made $800 at least, because 800 people like downloaded the game. And I mean, like, the game's funny, but like the quality, comparative speaking, like I need to charge for my games. That's just the moral of that story. There's a lot of international companies in more developing nations that need software engineers. I get emails about them all the time. Yeah, maybe that would be like good to look into. I've been applying all over the country, but maybe, you know, maybe it's time to start applying in India. People pay for shitty Instagram ad games, at least for their own YouTube channels and stuff. Yeah, all my stuff is free. Like, all of my games are free. I feel like at least, that's the other thing. I need more people that, like, I think you understand that, like, as an artist, sometimes it's hard to ask for money for your art because you feel as though, like, it's not deserving of that. But, like, this game, my game got good reviews. It got lots of, like, traction. People watched it, posted about it. If I charged $2 for this, like, I don't think anybody would blame me. Some of this other stuff, maybe not. Like, yeah, I probably shouldn't charge for some of this other stuff because it's not of quality. But, like, yeah, my quality's gotten, I think, good enough to where I can justify it. And I like here in Cambodia, which is one of the fastest growing economies in Southeast Asia, web development is booming as more businesses utilize the internet. Right. Yeah. Freelance work probably would do well. But that's the other thing. So right now, as it stands, hang on. As it stands, I don't have that experience yet. I'm not confident to build web applications, and I think that's like where I need to start. Because what was happening is, like, whenever I was expecting to graduate, I was like, okay, when I graduate, I'll get into an entry-level position, and they'll teach me how to do this stuff. This stuff that I've been kind of missing. And that's just, like, not true. I get you completely. I'm terrible at charging for my own artwork because my payment is the joy of creating and sharing art, so I don't know how to price paintings. I give it to someone else for free just cause. That's how I feel. I give my stuff for free just cause But I think a good approach that I'll be taking forward is like I'm going to consult with people that I trust to judge my material unbiasedly so that they can like put a fair price on it. And I'll just trust their judgment and say, hey, you think this is worth $2? I'm gonna charge $2. And I just ask people that I trust and that I think have good opinions on like valuing that kind of stuff. So like I definitely have some people that I know I could trust with that. Okay, anyways, it is exactly an hour. I said that I would end this stream at an hour because I got some other stuff to handle this evening. But thank you for jumping in and saying hi. I hope you're having a good morning. It's morning over there. Hope you're having a good morning. I'll be back with more of this stuff. I don't know about this weekend. I've like I don't know about more of this. I probably should. Anyways, I'm getting off. Thank you so much for getting in. I'll talk to you later. Bye.